Let's start. Good morning and welcome to today's sales webinar about securing data with Thales. Before I start the webinar, I would like to introduce the team at Exclusive Network that is responsible for Thales. First, we have Davina, our marketeer, Cedric, our security engineer, Nathan, our sales administrator, and myself, Gronia McGraw. I'm responsible for Thales. I'm the BDM at Exclusive Networks. So today's webinar, the agenda will be, first, I will be introducing Exclusive Network in a nutshell, our Belgium and Luxembourg organization, the global one, then the security for what matters most, a little short intro on Thales, then securing data. Why should we do it? How? What is the solution? I also added a case study because it makes it very clear the potentials of the products of Thales. And then, of course, a little overview of the Thales products and solutions, as they have a huge portfolio. And today we will focus mainly on data security. So we are Exclusive Networks. We are a district in Belgium, but our mission and vision is that we want to be the best cybersecurity specialist on the market. As you can see, we've been disrupting the distribution since 2007. We have a lot of best-in-class vendors, 34 to be specific. The reason we choose these vendors is because they are the best. The same counts for Thales. They are the best in the solutions they offer. Now we have 48 people working for Belgium and Luxembourg. We have more than 60 technical certifications, which is extremely important because we also want to make sure that we can help our clients, our partners with all kinds of services, professional services, technical services, name it. We are a global company because we are present in 46 countries, and we have the ability to service customers in more than 170 countries. Our main purpose is to do the local sales, but this global scale, because we think it's very important that our partners, but also the end customers, are we can service them in their local language and culture. Now, a little intro on Thales. As you can see, they are the first in the worldwide data protection, which of course is the main focus for today. But they are present in quite some very, very difficult business areas like space, defense, aerospace. And I wanted to really pinpoint that to let you know how good they are. If they can get the trust of these areas, it's really a very good solution, trustworthy and the best of the best. They have also over 83,000 employees, and they are present in 68 countries. So once again, a global approach is possible. Now, I think this is a very important fact nowadays. It's a European company with headquarters in France. Now, let's continue. Secure for what matters most. Today, it's data, but make sure that you are well aware that Thales is also very good in securing applications and identities. Now, data is the most valuable resource on the planet. And the associate businesses opportunities, they come with challenges and risks. Most data breaches, exposures, and compliance failures, they are problems with fully authorized users, applications, and APIs. Access controls are really necessary in IT, but fail to prevent unwanted yet authorized access to data. Like, for example, malware, API exploits. We also have the insider threats and the misissues. As you can see, the attack surface is always broadening because of the fact organizations are evolving. Although the attackers sometimes are less skilled, the threats are growing. But that you also have to be aware that it's possible to buy ransomware as a service, for example, at the dark web. Even have a customer service, a support service. It's like a legitimate company, but illegal, of course. Now, the risks are indeed increasing exponentially. These challenges are all evidenced by the continued rise in records stolen year over year, the increase in cost of breaches, is also increasing. As you can see, in Europe, the GDPR total fines, they even raised to 1.2 billion last year. It's an increase of 33%. And here we're only talking about the financial part. We're not even talking about how customers lose faith, your reputation damage. So it's only the cost. So it's very important that the data is very well secured. Because of the also already more than 150 global cybersecurity regulations, and there are even more coming because of the fact it's such a threatening area, and the data is nowadays, it's the gold, it's the new gold. And access controls are not enough, because you also need to control people that have the access, to control how they will treat your data, how they will download it, where or where they will send it. And all these things are very important. Now, I've added some data protection relevant questions. Why? Because we see a lot of our partners are not well aware of where their data is and how to protect it, because they don't even know where it is. They don't even know what exactly they have or who has access to what and how they can make sure it's secure. So the first step in any data security initiative is knowing what data you have. Map out the various storage locations where your data is. Understanding the storage infrastructure helps direct security resources to where they are needed the most. Then, if you realize that, then you have to make sure you know how your data moves by tracing the data flow within your company to identify potential vulnerabilities in transit. This also involves analyzing data transmission pathways like networks, also email systems, file sharing mechanisms, etc. Also, it's very important understanding who is accessing your sensitive data by, and the only way to do this is by implementing robust access controls and authentication mechanisms to make sure that you restrict the access to sensitive data only to the authorized personnel. It's also, of course, important to know how your data is being used by monitoring the data and the data usage patterns to detect anomalies or suspicious activities that may indicate unauthorized or malicious behavior. In addition, of course, login and auditing mechanisms should be also implemented to track the data access and usage. But you have to know how your data is classified. So finally, understand the risk and threats that business today are dealing with. You have to stay informed about the emerging cybersecurity threats and vulnerabilities that are relevant to your company, industry, and data. In today's digital landscape, data security best practices are really essential for all enterprises, no matter what size, no matter what sector. With, of course, the complexity of data protection, there are three primary customer motivations we can see very clearly on the slide. And that's compliance. I'm going from the right to the left. Compliance, privacy, so this means risk and priority, and third one, security. Compliance is about industry regulatory governance, individual data privacy regulations, and internal organizational inquiries. The privacy is, of course, the ability to find and then to tag, but also to protect the sensitive information so people don't see things they shouldn't be seeing. Third, security is about the ability to identify, but also to protect, to detect, and once you've detected, to respond if necessary. And we can, here in this case, we can really look at frameworks like NIST and others. Regardless of the data type, it can be structured, but you also have semi-structured, unstructured. That doesn't really matter. The core capability needs to come together to answer data protection relevant questions. One really particular one is who accessed personally identifiable information, and how do you know? But also, how do you prove it to the auditors? So there we go straight to the risk and priority, discovery and classification. What is the personal identifiable information? Then below you have the audit management. You need to monitor all access to the data. How? You have to know if they accessed the personally identifiable information. You also have the entitlements. Who or what? The applications have the right to access which data. The access control, analytics and rules, they are determining user or entity good versus bad behavior. The integrations, you have to receive or send telemetry for Thales or other technologies to use, and that way they can make decisions. Now, unlike some other solutions within an organization security program, data security relies on decisions made with broad knowledge of the protected data and the users or entities that access it. Instead of the traditional, more static definitions of good or bad behavior, Thales brings these capabilities together in one place to meet customer security and compliance goals. It really gives you information on who is accessing what, when, where, and how. The important news here, because now we see a slide with a lot of information, we won't go into detail because otherwise I won't be able to finish in half an hour. But here the important news is we can help. Thales and Imperva, they have decades of recognized expertise helping customers protecting critical data. Now, the main thing is that Thales replaced the traditional manual controls and limited monitoring with automated threat detection tied to complete data activity monitoring. Their mission is to protect businesses from the risk associated with data. Sometimes this means adhering to regulatory requirements. More broadly, it is getting in front of or mitigating a breach. Across use cases and time, Thales solutions have evolved also to support our customers' environments today, what we see tomorrow and their businesses, and what we see tomorrow, but also when their businesses mature, because we have to make sure that we are ahead. Then the integration block determines what other systems that are in place at the customer and how they integrate. The real power of Thales, they can protect all types of data. And like, for example, if you have a SIEM, and in this case, all alerts will not be sent straight to the SIEM, but they will pass through the Thales platform before. This means that the SIEM and the people behind it are less overloaded, which is a very important part nowadays. As we can see in the next slide, there is a growth of cyber skills shortage. Everybody is well aware, but last year it was 26.2%, which is an enormous number. Now, as we already pointed out, a lot of companies don't exactly know how to protect the data. They sometimes don't even know where all the data is stored. And we can see that 40% of all the breaches involve data distributed across multiple environments. There you see there's a really, really big problem. It also takes an enormous time before they can contain a data breach. I won't go too much into detail. I think it's very clear that it's very costly if you have a data breach. And you see the difference in I didn't add a number, but if there's a data breach in a database on-prem, the costs are less. But most of the time, they only have the database on-prem. But in a multiple environment, you see it's 5 million. In the public cloud, it's even more. And in case of Thales, I wanted to pinpoint again another example. We had a data breach at the Belgian bank the 26th of May, in which the financial data of thousands of customers was accidentally shared with third parties. This data breach was caused by an error in just sending cost statements. It affected 64,000 customers. The customer information was sent to the wrong recipients, which is leading and led to concerns about the privacy and the potential impact on the bank's reputation. This data breach highlights the risk that businesses run when processing and sharing data about their customer, about the company, no matter what. Even without malicious intent, human error or technical issues can lead to a serious security incident. So companies must therefore implement stricter controls and processes to prevent these data breaches, and this way they can respond quickly when an incident occurs. In the case of our Belgian bank, we don't even know what the fine will be that they will receive. So it's not the end of the story because it happened like 2 weeks ago, a week ago, but it will have an impact enormously. Now, Thales Data Security Fabric is, of course, the first enterprise-scale multi-cloud hybrid solution to protect all data types. Just to mention, they are protecting more than 500,000 databases nowadays. They stop like 19 million alerts a day. And I'm not joking, these are true numbers. As you can see, the data security fabric is a conversion of all the best of breed, best of both worlds. If you see the data activity monitoring, access control, risk analytics, the discovery and the classification, but also the encryption and tokenization, the cloud native data security, data loss prevention, and even data static masking. That's really best of both worlds. So it's Imperva and Thales that have integrated both portfolios, and it's an unbeatable data security fabric supplier now. And DataSec is all about trust. Take, for example, I will take now the example of Microsoft. Nobody wants them to be able to see all your data, like, for example, your Excel file, your Word file. But if you take a license, a data security license at Microsoft, you are secured. But everything is at Microsoft. Really, do you want to put all your eggs in one basket? And okay, you can take another vendor like data encryption, okay, but who has the key? Who has access? If all your data is encrypted and secured by keys, who is renewing these keys on a regular basis, of course? It's not something you want to do manually. You need a system that discovers, classifies, and renews the keys. So, next slide. Welcome to the CipherTrust platform. The CipherTrust data security platform provides a unified approach to help organizations simplify data security across a broad set of use cases, securing their digital transformation and also accelerating their time to compliance. At the foundation of the CipherTrust data security platform is the CipherTrust Manager. The CipherTrust Manager comes in both physical and virtual appliances, but it's also available as a service. The value of the platform comes from the integrated solutions that we call connectors. We will get into detail in the next slide. As you can see, across the CipherTrust connectors, we offer a number of different use cases. The data discovery and classification solution allows you to search different repositories, both structured but also unstructured, for sensitive data, and it provides risk-oriented views which will help you understand your risk, but it will also help you to determine where to apply data protection. For the encryption and tokenization, we support a large number of different use cases to apply encryption at the file system level, but also the database, or column level. These are with libraries embedded into the application or API gateways. We offer everything from standard encryption and tokenization to data masking. It's also good to know, and it's a very important fact, that the Thales products, the HSM, which we will talk about later, is post-quantum ready. For key management, we provide the ability to centrally manage the keys that are used across different use cases, of course, along with the ability to backup and archive key material. We offer centralized key management, not just within your enterprise, but also in cloud environments with support for all the major cloud providers. If we take another example, like for example, you have an Excel or a Word file from Microsoft again, and you classify it with the classification of Microsoft, then Thales will use this to classify it correctly. But in this case, you really need to use a real classified vendor like Thales. Thales Cipher Trust Manager also enables companies to centrally manage their encryption keys and access policies for their legacy data storage environments. As already pointed out, Thales acquired Imperva, and it gains this way a complete portfolio. We can secure, as you can see on the right side, identities, PKIs, tokens with cards, and manage them for controlled and secure authentication. The data created or used can then be encrypted. This can be done at rest and in motion. In files, in databases, these encryption keys must be centralized managed. You must also keep a log of who has access to the data. You must know what data you have and classify it. The applications you use must also have a firewall to control who has access and with what rights. Now, I just want to mention it. You must have protection against DDoS as well. This will be mentioned in the webinar next week. In a nutshell, our solutions helps organizations to get complete visibility into their sensitive data by using efficient data discovery, classification, and risk analysis across heterogeneous data stores. For example, the cloud, big data, file sharing, and all kinds of databases. With our solution, you have a single pane of glass that provides clarity of what sensitive data you have, where it's located, the risk of exposure, and we have remediation after classification to help you protect your data and to achieve compliance. This is not what the webinar is all about today, but I wanted to mention they also have identity and access management, EIM, and customer identity and access management, CIM. Then, as we are focusing on the data, the HSM is its hardware security is a dedicated crypto processor that is specially designed for the protection of the crypto key lifecycle. This hardware security module acts as trust anchor that protects the cryptographic infrastructure of some of the most security conscious organizations, as shown in the first slide of Thales. It's in the world, and it's worldwide used by securely managing, processing, storing cryptographic keys inside a hardened, tamper-resistant device, and they are post-quantum ready. Very important point. Thales hardware security modules provide the highest level of security by always storing cryptographic keys in hardware. I've mentioned that Thales replaced traditional manual controls and limited monitoring with automated threat detection tied to complete data activity monitoring. This way, that's the only way they can provide a unified platform to connect the customers' different data sources and technologies. This can be agent-based or agentless, cloud or on-prem, or hybrid, of course, cloud managed or self-managed, structured, unstructured. Today's and future technologies can be incorporated through pre-built connectors and also sensors. This again helps organizations extend the value of their DSF investment, including when going through a digital transformation or an acquisition. With an acquisition comes migrating technologies. And this way, customers can feel confident about discovering, classifying, and monitoring their data access regardless of the source, and normalizing the data to eliminate silos. Then we will go to the case study. Thales secures a subscription television broadcast, and it's for one of the world's leading communication service companies. The company started out at broadcasting television through the internet. Its services range is from phone and internet to network IT services. And now they wanted to add on-demand and broadcast television programming, but not only on demand, but also live channels, which makes it difficult. And they wanted to do it again in 150 countries where they are, where their service is available. Now, this case has two major pain points. First, we have to go through the pain points without sacrificing performance. Why and how could they offer real-time television without risking to be compromised, to be hacked? Security has to come first. Of course, encryption has an impact on the business, but they can't afford to have an impact on the user experience. And they also, of course, wanted their intellectual property to be secured. So, how did they solve this? They looked at several solutions, but a lot of them had, or the risk wasn't completely covered, or they had latency, which is a no-go, because if you have a live show like a football match or a popular TV show, you can't have any latencies. So first of all, by deploying the high-speed encryption solution, the HSM from Thales, to secure their data in motion, transmission of the data, the video, but also the voice between the data centers, they protected their intellectual property. And by encrypting the television programming between their broadcast center and the viewers, they also secured. But this was a more difficult point, because they didn't want latency. That's where the hardware security model of Thales was the right choice, because of the fact it's a high assurance appliance that generates and stores and manages encryption keys. And as you can see, because of the fact that it's also live television, they have real spikes in workload. Now, there again, Thales, the HSM, the Luna HSM, was able to cope with the spikes in workload. So with the Thales Luna HSM and the Thales network encryptors, the broadcasting company is now completely secured. Well, not completely, as much as possible, but they are confident that all television broadcasts and also the communication between the data centers, which they have a lot of because they have to work redundant, they have to have backups, is also secured. And while providing a seamless, high quality viewing experience for their clients and making sure that all viewers are clients that pay, so they don't have any security breaches or problems in that area. As promised, here you have a little overview of all the Thales portfolio. You can see they have an awful lot to offer. They can help you with access your data, de-risk your data, protect it, understand it. So it's a huge portfolio. And sadly, I only have 30 minutes today, so I can't go really into detail. But I think we can always meet and discuss and see which area you need, which area would like most. So I would like to thank you for this webinar. I'm going to stop sharing. I will send the files, the slides to everybody who was at the webinar, so you can contact me anytime. Thank you for joining this webinar, and I hope to hear from you soon.